So today I want to talk to you about announcements and how we can really improve the way we make announcements here, and also to get a better effect for you as a leader. So let's talk about a few basics first. Why do we do announcements? Most of the time we're looking for someone to come to an event that we have. We're looking for them to volunteer or to give. And then this last one, I'm not sure we do this enough, so I want to encourage you on this. We can also help people be aware of what God is doing in our groups. We can tell the stories of things that are happening. So I hope you won't forget that as part of things that we can announce. Now, I want to make sure you know all the avenues that we have for making announcements. We have the T2. What is that? That's the Tuesday email that comes out at 2 o'clock. And so it's our way of doing a bulletin. I am so grateful we don't have a bulletin, because they lay around on seats and people forget them, and as soon as they're not in your hand, you don't know what's going on. But this Tuesday 2, it's in most people's phones. They can pull it up whenever they want to. That information is right there. So we have the T2. That is one of our main ways. We have a website that we post information to, our social media platforms of Facebook and Instagram. We have the church app. Then there's the Sunday slides. And then, of course, there's the front of church announcements. Now, if you need to get an announcement in the queue, then just talk with Amy Bender, talk with Chris Eifert. They can make sure that your information is being put out. Let's talk about these front of church announcements. I would like to make sure that they apply to the entire church, because if we start making announcements about small groups within the church, then other folks are going to begin to fall asleep. So we ought to limit our front of church announcements to the things that apply to the church at large. Just a couple of things. Make sure I know that we're doing an announcement that day. One of the hardest things for me is to hear that we're making an announcement sort of last minute and figuring out where to put that. So let's go ahead and plan, the week before, and make sure we know that we're going to do an announcement. Be on time. That way we're not looking around trying to figure out where someone is in the audience to make an announcement. If you're sitting down front, you can come up quickly. We don't have to wait for anyone. Make sure that your information is in order. And I know all of us, we think that we can make an announcement on the fly. It is not that easy. So be prepared. Plan out what you want to say. You may know what you're planning to say, sort of, kind of, in your head. But I assure you, when you get in front of people who don't know what you're getting ready to announce, it's important that you have your information together. So know what you want to say and say it fast. Now let's talk about this, the what versus the why. So there's an announcement on the screen. If I was in front of the church, I could do this one of two ways. You see which one is better. I could announce to the church that the middle schoolers small group is meeting on November the 5th at 6 p.m. at my house on Dogwood Lane. Or, example number 2, I could say we'd like to invite all of our middle schoolers out. We do human battleship, and we also get together and we cook woofums every time we're together. And if you've never had a woofum, then you need to come to one of our bonfires and enjoy a woofum with us. Enjoy learning to hear God and learn how a middle schooler can get in touch with God. That's a little bit different. It's a little more engaging. Sometimes we tend to just present the facts, and we don't really do the why. We never really connect someone to why they should come to whatever it is that we're offering. Now, there are some other options that are available, and quite frankly, these options are much better than the front of church announcement. Here they are. I know you don't want to hear them, but these really are better ways. We have emails. You can put together an email list of the people that are in your ministry and send out just to that target audience. We have phone numbers, so we can send out texts to that particular group of people. You can make phone calls, and you can shoulder tap, which by far is the best way. So for me, I think that the announcements that we make, the social media things that we do, all sort of sets the stage so that you can then go to a person and say, hey, you know what? I think you'd be great at this. Are you willing to try? Because for whatever reason, most people don't like to volunteer. There's this culture that says don't volunteer for anything. So we see announcements and we think it applies to somebody other than us. So we do all the legwork but then it's important to do some shoulder tapping as well. And then this one last thing. Let's remember to highlight our successes and to honor what is honorable. So if we have volunteers that are doing great things, then I think we ought to honor those volunteers. If we have some exciting stories that come out of one of our ministries, then I think we ought to tell those stories. So let's don't just tell people what we want them to do, when we need them to do it, and how much we need them to give. Let's also engage them in this kingdom work that's being done, how we're advancing the kingdom, how people's lives are being changed. I assure you that if we do that, more people will want to be involved in what we're doing. So there's a few helpful hints on announcements. Hopefully that makes us better and gets people more engaged. Thanks.